Great job, Abby.
Nice job.
Well, thanks everybody for being here. This is a big day. We said on the House floor, it's finally morning in America again. The media and the Democrats have consistently dismissed any possibility that House Republicans could get this done. They did not believe that we could succeed in our mission to enact President Trump's America First agenda. But this was a big one, and once again, they have been proven wrong. Today, the House has passed generational, truly nation-shaping legislation to reduce spending and permanently lower taxes for families and job creators, secure the border, unleash American energy dominance, restore peace through strength, and make government work more efficiently and effectively for all Americans. House Democrats voted against all of that. So everything that I just said, they voted the opposite. Clearly proves they must want the largest tax increase in U.S. history on the American citizens. They must want open borders. They've proven that over and over. They must want Medicaid for illegal immigrants. We look forward to the Senate's timely consideration of this once-in-a-generation legislation. We stand ready to continue our work together to deliver on the one big, beautiful bill, as President Trump named it himself. We're going to send that to his desk. We're going to get it there by Independence Day on July 4th, and we are going to celebrate a new golden age in America. Thank you for being here. I will yield next to our leader, Steve Scalise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as the Speaker said, it truly is morning in America again. You know, when you think about all of the work that's gone in to putting this bill together, it's one big, beautiful bill for a lot of reasons. There are a lot of really important wins for the American people in this bill. And we had 11 committees come together and meet in hearings. Some went on over 24 hours. Rules Committee went over 20 hours. You had, of course, the Budget Committee. Chairman Arrington is the lead author of the bill. All of the people that had to come together in our conference, and I think a lot of you know we don't all think alike. Democrats made it very clear they didn't want to have any part in helping get America back on track again, but we were never deterred. When this bill could have failed 10 times over, we said we were going to get this done and failure is not an option, and we meant it. We knew we were fighting for the families who've been struggling for way too long under the failed policies of Joe Biden and all the Democrats who did have control of Washington for too long. We watched higher interest rates and higher inflation and lower wages and a demise of the American dream that we knew should not be permanent, but was only going to turn around if we passed a bill to get America back on track. We knew we had to prevent a massive tax increase, so we put it in the bill. We knew we needed to secure America's border, as President Trump ran on all across this country and won the election on, and we put it in this bill. We ran on and said we would produce more American energy, and we put it in this bill. All the things that we knew we needed to do to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in government. Focus on those families who are struggling. All of that is in this one big, beautiful bill. And yes, now the House has come together and passed this bill against all odds, but we're still working on the rest of the process. Still goes to the Senate. The Senate has a lot of work to do too. That's why we've been talking to the Senate for a long time, but it's their turn to take this bill and move forward. But I'll tell you, none of this would be possible without the leadership of President Trump, who every step of the way not only laid out the vision, ran a campaign on this vision, but every step of the way too said, whatever you need, let me know. And he was there to help us. Our great speaker, Mike Johnson, who was never deterred, probably hasn't slept in a few days, but never wavered in his commitment to get this done. And this whole team has come together. And our whip has never relented and never stopped pushing to get this done. With that, I bring up our great majority whip, Tom Emmer.
Thank you, Steve. On November 5th, the American people rejected the failed policies of the Biden-Harris administration and overwhelmingly endorsed President Trump's America First agenda. Using his executive authority, President Trump hit the ground running on day one to deliver on the promises he made to the American people. Today, House Republicans followed suit. Our one big, beautiful bill fulfills the mandate for change we were given last November. It allows President Trump to continue his successful border security and deportation operations by investing in more Border Patrol agents and ICE officers, funding the continuation of the border wall, and equipping our men and women on the front lines with the tools they need to keep us safe. Not only will the one big, beautiful bill help to make America safe again, it will also help to make America wealthy again. America's economic revival has already begun under President Trump's leadership, but House Republicans back it up in this bill by making the 2017 Trump tax cuts permanent, eliminating tax on tips and overtime, and throwing out regulations that burden American businesses and suffocate American innovation. From promoting the safety and security of our great nation and giving much-needed tax relief to American families, to unleashing American energy and bringing accountability to important government programs, there are wins in this bill for every corner of America. Take this as a lesson. Don't bet against the House Republicans. We've shown time and time again that we deliver for the American people, especially when it matters most. By taking hold of this historic opportunity, I truly believe we've unlocked the opportunities for generations to come. And with that, I turn it over to our conference chair, Lisa McClain.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody, and a good morning it is. We just made history and passed the one big, beautiful bill, despite the Democrats' fear-mongering. Shocker, we haven't seen that lately, have we? And the hours that they spent stalling the votes on this entire process. The Democrats tried to derail this bill. And guess what? It didn't work. They failed. Not only did the Democrats vote against the bill, but they introduced hundreds of meaningless amendments, spewed misleading talking points, and now they have nothing to show for it, except voting on the record for the historic tax increase and to kill jobs of the small and medium class business owners in America. Frankly, Democrats voted to put Americans last, and it's a shame. But thank God for House Republicans, and thank God for our president, Donald J. Trump. His vision, alongside the work of my colleagues, made today a historic day. Behind me is what you see, a unified Republican conference with phenomenal leadership. And this Republican conference works as a team. This transformational legislation will provide safety and security for generations to come. Whether it's at our borders or in our pocketbooks, Americans will be better off thanks to the one big, beautiful bill. Our committees had difficult tasks, and they delivered. And some doubted that this was even possible. But at the end of the day, we all came together. House Republicans did not miss the moment. And because of our work, we will put more money in the pockets of hardworking Americans. We will prevent the next Lincoln Riley or Rachel Morin from being murdered. And we will save another family from the heartbreak of fentanyl poisoning. And to think the Democrats voted against all of that. But I am thankful for the House Republicans that they stood up for the American people. We put them first. This is what real leadership looks like. This is what winning looks like. And this is what America looks like under President Donald Trump and House Republicans' leadership. Safe, secure, and prosperous. And now I will turn it over to the chairman of the Transportation and Infrastructure, Mr. Sam Graves.
I'll be brief, but I'm proud to stand up here with my chairman colleagues, and I want to thank them for all the work that they did, the Republican leadership, and especially President Trump and his team for helping to get this across the board, across the line. For our part, for the Transportation Infrastructure Committee's part, we exceeded our mark when it came to cuts, and at the same time, we also made investments in our United States Coast Guard. More importantly, we made a down payment on modernization of our air traffic control system. And on top of that, we're going to see the first new money in the Highway Trust Fund in over 30 years. So with that, I encourage the Senate to do their work and to get this moved as well across the board. And I will turn it over to Chairman Rogers.
Thank you, Sam. This one big, beautiful bill makes a generational investment in national defense. The bill includes bipartisan legislation from the House Armed Services Committee that provides mandatory $150 billion in mandatory spending to help us start implementing President Trump's Peace Through Strength agenda. That $150 billion will fund key investment initiatives in President Trump's Golden Dome, revitalize our defense industrial base, help secure our southwest border because border security is national security, deter Chinese aggression, and enhance service member quality of life. With these investments, we will restore American deterrence and build the ready, capable, and lethal fighting force President Trump promised. I want to thank President Trump and Speaker Johnson for prioritizing national security in the bill and commend our entire leadership team for getting this done. And with that, I'll now turn it over to the Iron Lady, Chairman Fox.
Thank you, and I want to thank my colleagues. As you all know, we came in for a lot of criticism for the Rules Committee meeting at 1 a.m. in the morning, but we needed to do that in order for us to be right here this morning getting this done. And I want to thank the Speaker for all the work that he has done. I've told him I'm going to nominate him for sainthood because he now has done many miracles here as Speaker. But he, working together with President Trump and all of my colleagues, and I want to thank the members of the Rules Committee for their patience and their perseverance. But this is a great morning in America again. We are delivering as Republicans for the American people, and we're all going to walk very happily for the next few weeks, especially till we see the next challenge that we have. But this has just been a primer for it, and we're ready for the next ones. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, President Trump.
Jim Jordan, Judiciary Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've said this many times before. I think we tend to make our job too complicated. It's really pretty basic. What did you tell the voters you were going to do when you put your name on the ballot and you ran for the job? And if you get elected, go do what you said. And this bill does that. It wouldn't have happened without the leadership of the Speaker and our entire team, and it certainly wouldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump. But last fall, we told the American people, you elect us, we're going to make sure we cut your taxes don't go up. This bill does that. We told them last fall, you elect us, we will secure the border. President Trump has done that. We allocate resources in this bill to make sure it stays secure. We told people last fall, you elect us, we will respect moms and dads. We will let you have school choice ability where you can pick the school where your son or daughter is going to get the best education. And we told people last fall, you elect us, we're going to treat you with the respect you deserve. Able-bodied people in our welfare system will have to work if they're going to get your money. This bill does what we said we were going to do. That's why it's a good day for our country. Next is Mr. Guthrie, the Chairman of Energy.
Thank you very much. As one of the new chairmen here, it's just been such a privilege to work with the leadership and the chairman and the entire conference to deliver on the promises that the House Republicans and President Trump promised in the campaign. In the Energy and Commerce Committee, we strengthened Medicaid for the most vulnerable. Leader Jeffries, when he gave his speech on the floor, read different stories that he received on Medicaid. Every single person that he talked about on the floor is completely covered by this bill. We reformed Medicaid so hardworking taxpayers who provide Medicaid also have those who can work and are able to work join the hardworking taxpayers to help pay for Medicaid. This is vital to our communities. We deliver on energy dominance in this bill. So I'm proud to have worked with my friends. I'm proud to work with hopefully our members of the Senate to make sure that this bill gets passed and gets to the President's desk. We strengthen Medicaid and we delivered on energy dominance. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce my good friend, the Chair of Agriculture, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And what a great morning it is. I'm so proud to be a part of this team led by President Trump and our Speaker, and really proud of the members, Republican members on the House Agriculture Committee and the hardworking staff. We delivered as a part of this big, beautiful bill, pieces of legislation that would just serve well the people who consume and the people who produce agriculture commodities in this country. For the folks who consume, especially the most vulnerable, we've achieved something we haven't been able to do in a very long time, and that is to restore the intent of Congress, not by cutting or taking people off the roll for the nutrition programs, but restoring program integrity that makes sure they're able to get what they need, but to do that in a way that gives them hope for a better future, restoring rungs on a ladder of opportunity. And for the hardworking farm families that really are the producers that are in production that have been up, well, actually, with these past couple of days, I feel like a dairy farmer, with these hours we're working. But these families are up before sunlight. They're out there working, and we were able to deliver what I fondly refer to as Farm Bill 1.0. We couldn't do everything that they needed, but we were able to deliver a tremendous amount in terms of risk management for hardworking farm families that are really experiencing the worst farm economy in a half a century. And we know that we need those hardworking families to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive, because of them we have food security, which gives us national security. And so I'm just once again really proud to be here this morning, and I'm proud to introduce one of my chairmen of the committee I serve, Chairman Wahlberg with Education and Workforce.
Thank you. It's great to stand up here. This is the first step of the continuing process, and I want to give great appreciation to our Speaker, our entire leadership team, and of course to the guy who is a must-do man, and that's President Donald Trump. That gave us all the purchase power to move what we needed to do. And I want to say thank you to my committee, as well as the committee staff that work significantly. I think they all believe that without an educated workforce, we don't have a workforce that succeeds in this world. And without a workforce, we don't have a need for education. So put them two together, and we've got the opportunity. And so we were given a high lift, a high challenge. We found ultimately almost $350 billion of savings. And that's the term because it gives us a chance to make sure that students have a better opportunity with reduced costs to go through their educational process, with incentives that make that work, but also make sure that we don't have factory workers in Michigan and ranchers in Texas paying for lawyers in Manhattan their education. But everybody has that opportunity, and we also give universities and colleges and community colleges and tax-paying universities the opportunity to counsel students against taking on debilitating debt that puts them back and really stops the thrust of educational process. This is a start. We trust that the Senate has seen the pattern now, and we can work with them to achieve something that moves education and workforce forward in ways we haven't seen in a long, long time. And it was great to be part of this leadership team, this great group of chairmen, and it's a privilege now to introduce a guy who did yeoman work on Ways and Means, Chairman Smith.
I first just want to say thank you for the hard work that's been put in by our House leadership team and every one of my fellow chairs, but also every single Republican member of this conference. Iron sharpens iron, and a lot of times we do that here, but it has made us so much stronger, where we've been able to stand together and deliver real victories for American people. I remember when people said President Trump's reelection wasn't possible. And then it became the greatest political comeback in history. 77 million Americans voted to return Trump to office. We have those Americans and President Trump to thank for the Republican majorities in the House and the Senate. So then the doubters came back and said, there's no way that House Republicans can make the Trump tax cuts permanent. It's too hard. They said there's no way they can deliver on his campaign promises and cut spending. And they went even further and said there's no way that House Republicans can deliver on it as part of one big, beautiful bill. But I was raised in a trailer in Salem, Missouri, next to my dad's auto repair shop. I know what it's like to have everyone doubt your future. And I said it from the start, failure is not an option. The doubters were wrong because we just passed the one big, beautiful bill. And as promised, it delivers for working families. And this is how the greatest political comeback of all time has led to the greatest pro-worker, pro-family, pro-farmer, and pro-small business tax bill of all time. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on loans for American-made cars, tax relief for seniors. Make the Trump tax cuts permanent. We hold the woke elites accountable, and no taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants who broke the law. We're delivering for the gig workers that stay up late to put their kid through college. We're delivering for the restaurant workers that take another shift to help out a coworker and put food on their table. We're delivering for the police officers and firefighters who show up in the dead of night to keep our communities safe. We're delivering for seniors who worked their whole lives and paid into Social Security and were promised tax relief. We're delivering for the families who, after surviving 4 years of Democrats' historic inflation, struggle to afford a school that meets their needs. We're delivering for the factory worker who needs to buy a car to drop his kids off on the way to work. We're delivering for the Americans that expect their tax dollars to go to help other Americans and not illegal immigrants. We're delivering for the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who made these promises and intends to keep them because the Republican Party is the party of the working class, and we won't leave them behind. Pleased to introduce the great chairman of the Financial Services Committee, Mr. Hill.
Good morning, everybody. Such a pleasure to be with you. And let me say, first and foremost, thank you to Mike Johnson and our leadership team, our majority leader, Steve Scalise, working hand in glove with President Trump all of last year on what would be the priorities for House Republicans to work hand in hand with our president if we were so fortunate to be elected, to have the House in the Republican hands, to have the presidency in President Trump's capable leadership hands, and to have the Senate. And this bill is that first step. This is that first step that delivers on that promise. And for my constituents in Arkansas, what a pleasure it was for me to vote that they're not going to face a 22% increase in their taxes, that 9 out of 10 Arkansans can use the standard deduction and have a simpler, straightforward way to file their taxes, that they can have the benefit of a more robust child tax credit. That's what House Republicans stand for. And let me also say that there were doubters, and you've heard that mentioned today. But President Trump has said frequently, why can't the Republicans stick together like the Democrats stick together? Well, with the leadership of Mike Johnson, Republicans have stuck together and delivered on the commitments that we've made in the campaign and in our planning in this first 5 months of what's going to be, as President Trump argues, a golden age for the American people and the American economy. In the House Financial Services Committee, we were proud to have been charged by Chairman Arrington with a $1 billion deficit reduction. And by golly, like all members of the House Financial Services Committee, we underpromised and over-delivered by cutting the deficit by $5.2 billion over that period of time. And it's the first substantive change in the Dodd-Frank Act in the past 15 years that will lead and anchor in our committee to deliver on another promise of the administration, which is to right-size regulations so that our capital providers can provide that access to capital to our small businesses, our big businesses, and make America more competitive. So again, congratulations to my fellow members of House leadership, our committee chairs, our staffs that worked so hard for so many months to deliver on what is a big success for our country. And now I'm happy to welcome my fellow Arkansan, a great chair of our Natural Resources Committee, Bruce Western.
Good morning. You know, winning feels good. It always feels good, but it feels much better when you win as a team. And this was a team victory. And it's not just this team that you see standing here. It's the team of our whole Republican conference. It's hundreds of dedicated staff members who have worked many, many hours, who have made changes and gotten the bill text where it needs to be. But we wouldn't be at this point without the leadership of our speaker, who just keeps winning every time something comes up. And we don't have an option not to win. There is no other option than to win for the American people. And today, I believe the American people win. And as I think about the Natural Resources Committee, I can't help but think about the only quote in the House chamber by Daniel Webster, that we're coming upon the 200-year anniversary of him making this speech at the dedication of the Bunker Hill Monument. 1,000 people gathered there and 120 Revolutionary War veterans. And the part of his speech that's in the House chamber starts off saying, "Let us develop the resources of our land." America has been blessed from sea to shining sea with abundant resources. America is also blessed with a conservation ethic to know how to use those resources in a responsible way and leave our resources in better shape for future generations. We were able to, on the Natural Resources Committee, exceed our budget instructions by a factor of 20. $20 billion in new revenue and savings over the 10-year window. But that's just the beginning. That's what CBO says we're going to generate by royalty rates, by lease sales, by selling timber, by having mining. That's just the very basic cost of selling those assets. What that doesn't account for is when you have $1 billion of resources, it takes billions and billions of dollars of factories, of oil rigs, of pipelines, of mines, of refineries, of sawmills, and manufacturing equipment. And that's going to create millions of jobs across our country if we're fully able to use those resources, which is going to grow our economy. So this bill not only gives tremendous tax relief to hardworking Americans, it also gives hardworking Americans an opportunity to have great paying jobs and to build things right here in America again, and to attack our deficit by growing our economy and producing more income for families and more income for the federal government. And I couldn't be more proud to be part of this team today. And it's with that, I want to introduce the chairman of the Oversight Committee from Kentucky, Representative Comer.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, today's a historic day, and today's a great day for the hardworking, tax-paying Americans. The People's House has delivered on President Trump's America First agenda. Our one big beautiful bill cuts taxes for hardworking Americans and small businesses, putting more money directly back into the pockets of those hardworking Americans. It provides critical resources to secure our border and deport criminal illegal aliens, the same dangerous individuals that Joe Biden allowed to flood into our country every day. It restores American energy dominance by rolling back the radical Green New Deal scam and unleashing domestic production.
and it takes direct aim at waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington, making government more efficient and more accountable for the American taxpayer. For example, our bill tackles fraud in the Federal Employee Health Benefits Program. A GAO report uncovered instances where federal employees illegally placed non-family members on their taxpayer-subsidized health plans. The One Big Beautiful Bill ends this abuse, saving taxpayers $1.5 billion. We're proud the House passed this legislation. Now the Senate must do its job. Next, it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of the heroes from start to finish of this whole process, our great Budget Committee Chairman and my good friend, Jody Arrington.
I'm the chairman that made these guys' lives just a little more difficult. The Speaker told me he had two criteria for who would lead this bill. They had to be big and they had to be beautiful. And I just want to say, what an honor.
Where's Jason?
Yeah, where did Jason go? What a great day. What an extraordinary team effort. I am truly honored to serve with these folks and our conference. I'm humbled to this day, 9 years later, we came in together, still humbled, still pinching myself to be able to be part of the leadership of the greatest country in human history. I want to thank the Speaker. I want to thank Steve Scalise and the entire leadership team for keeping all of us focused and unified and moving forward. I want to thank my fellow chairmen and all of our members for their tireless efforts and their unwavering commitment. We said from the very beginning that this was a generational opportunity to deliver the most comprehensive and consequential set of policy reforms in modern history. And you know what? We achieved it in the One Big Beautiful Bill. The largest investment in border security and defense, the largest tax cuts for our families and small businesses, and the largest reduction in spending in U.S. history by 2 times. So we've got an opportunity to take that big step, that big bold step, work with the Senate, get this bill to the president so that he can make that America First vision a reality in the American people's lives. And we're not going to stop, we're not going to be satisfied until these policy reforms are a reality for the people that we serve. So with that, God bless America, go West Texas, and reverse the curse. And Mr. Mark Green, our fearless leader for Homeland Security.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
You know, no bill's perfect, but this one is big and beautiful, and I'll tell you why it's beautiful to me. It's beautiful to me because House Republicans, under the leadership of Mike Johnson and Donald Trump, showed the American people that we will do what we promised. And we showed the world that the borders of the United States of America are sovereign and secure. Our team, my Committee of Homeland Security, has been poring over this for a year on how best to do this. My staff, some of whom are here, thank you for your hard work. We're going to construct and add to the border wall with technology, cameras, lights, access. We're going to invest in the people who put their ass on the line to keep us safe every day. More training, more equipment, modernized equipment, better facilities. It's a right thing to do. And we're going to end the threats to the people of this country from the cartels, from the gangs that poured across our southern border, and the fentanyl, and who knows what else with the terrorists that got across the border under the last administration. It all comes to an end. And I want to, again, thank my team and thank the leadership of this conference. You know, 40 years, I think, we've been trying to push through border security. Yeah. I mean, all these different bills, many of which were baits and swaps, but this guy pulled us all together and got it done. We finally secured the sovereign border of the United States. Thank you, and I'll be followed by the Speaker.
Well, this crew behind me is exhausted, so we're going to take maybe one or two questions and call it a day. Yes, ma'am.
Speaker Johnson, was there a pivotal moment that sort of shifted the momentum on this bill? 24 hours ago, the House Freedom Caucus was standing right here saying that they needed another 7 to 10 days to negotiate this piece of legislation. What changed over the course of the last 24 hours?
You know, there were a number of pivotal moments. We have 220 Republicans in the House Republican Conference, and lots of different opinions. They represent very different districts around the country with very different interests. But the principle and the philosophy is always the same. Everybody's conservative. We believe in limited government, and we believe in individual freedom and the rule of law and peace through strength and fiscal responsibility and free markets and human dignity, the things that are all wrapped into this bill. And so I would say there was a lot of pivotal moments. One day I might actually write a book about the last year of my life and trying to get this thing over the line. But I'll say, look, I'm just going to say, I give glory to God. I mean, there's a lot of prayer that brought this together. I'm just going to be very blunt about it. There was a few moments over the last week when it looked like the thing might fall apart, and I went to the little chapel over here and got on my knees and prayed that these guys would have wisdom and stamina and discernment. And that's the secret here, and teamwork, and mutual respect that everybody has for one another. And I think that's what defines the Republican Party. It's a great day to be an American. It's a great day to be a Republican. Yeah, go ahead.
For you, when this bill did go in the Senate, they're likely going to change it a lot. It's prepared to do this again.
No, all the senators, every one of them have promised me they're not going to change anything in our bill. Reese, no. I was honored to be at the Senate Republican luncheon on Tuesday. And, you know, I encourage them to remember that we have a very delicate equilibrium that we reached on here. A lot of work went into this to find exactly the right balance. And you all saw how perilous that was over the last week as it developed. And I encourage our Senate colleagues to think of this as a one-team effort, as we have, and to modify this as little as possible, because it will make it easier for us to get it over the line ultimately and finished and get it to the President's desk by July 4th. And that's a big thing. The reason we were so aggressive, and I know some of y'all smiled and probably mocked me a little bit when I said early on we were going to do this by Memorial Day. You didn't believe it. I know you didn't, Reese. Most of you didn't. But the reason we did that was not because out of pride of authorship or because we were trying to, you know, raise some banner. We did it because we need to get this relief to the American people as soon as possible. And President Trump made these promises on the campaign trail, and we did as well. And we wanted, as Jim Jordan likes to say, we're going to do what we said we were going to do. And that's what this bill represents. And so the timetable is important. We also have the debt ceiling approaching. We've got the relief that the people need. And the sooner they feel that relief, the better. So we did our job, rolled up our sleeves, got it done, and we're really proud of that effort. One more question. Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that the Senate might be considering in terms of changing this bill that you all will not accept?
I'm not going to draw any red lines. Look, I told them there's a lot of different opinions over there as there is here. They have a small margin as we do. We had a 3-vote margin. By the way, I just want you to know for the record, we really had 217 votes this morning. Andrew Garbarino did not make it in time. He fell asleep in the back. No kidding. I know. I'm going to just strangle him. But he's my dear friend. And then David Schweikert was going to vote and slipped his card in right at the last minute. So it looks like a razor-thin margin, 215 to 214 and one present. It was really 217, okay? Will y'all put a footnote somewhere in history on that thing? They're both going to go on record saying that's how they would have voted if they got the card in time. Thank you so much for being here. Bless you all. Thanks all these guys. Thank you.